Permanent Residence, the newest melodic death metal or melodic metal solo album from James melodic what? Yeah, I know that's what a lot of people are going to think whenever they listen to this album. Whenever they think of James LaBrie, they think of Dream Theater. Whenever they think of Dream Theater, they think of progressive metal. They think about masturbating all over instruments. But on this album, you have a lot of that, but it's just not the same. No, it's James LaBrie. It's his own thing. He's been making solo albums now for a while. This is actually number 5 if you count the 2 under the Mall Muzzler name. This is now 3 under just his solo moniker of James LaBrie. So yeah, a lot of people have already heard the song Agony, which is the first track off of this album, so most of you probably aren't that surprised, not like the reaction that I just gave, but let me tell you, whenever I heard about this, whenever I was priming to listen to this, there was a little bit of excitement. In fact, there was a lot of excitement, but there was also a tiny, small amount of skepticism, thinking, oh, okay, another band of this variety, only this time it's fronted by probably one of the most important voices in progressive music today. This could go either really, really well, or it could go downhill in a hurry, especially the fact that he recruited a list of names that most people, most conventional individuals probably have never heard of before, but that's okay. The minute that you listen to Agony, though, all those fears really get swept aside very, very quickly. That's kind of, painting skepticism like that is really painting a very, very terrible portrait that really doesn't need to even be worked upon. Because this is an album that, from the very get-go, from the very first track, Agony, really showcases that James and these guys are able to make music of this variety that far surpasses the past 3 or 4 In Flames records. With one song, they were able to defeat a lot of the 2000s, the 2010s catalog of one of the most prominent bands in the melodic death metal department, or the Gothenburg sound. Yeah, it's really that good. It's actually really, really talented and really, really very well executed, and what I really like about this is I like the tendency to maybe dive a smidgen into what people would consider to be traditionally prog-tastic metal. It's something where it really isn't full-on headfirst diving into the prog legacies, the prog ideas, and everything like that. It's just little twinges that people are going to call progressive because it sounds a little bit unlike the stuff that they've heard in music of this variety, unless they've really dug deep and gotten into like melodic prog or prog power or things of that variety. So if it's somebody who's really kind of very unilateral, very one-sided and monochrome, who really just listens to the one style of metal being mellow death, and has that In Flames philosophy firmly implanted in their minds that nothing else is going to really supersede it, then this is going to be definitely a little progressive curveball, but it really isn't. One thing I do like is I like that on this record, James is kind of able to supersede himself and actually dive into the realms of other musicians and really give them a real nice hail. I noticed a little bit of a Queensryche feel to some of the songs here, a little bit more of a poppy Queensryche. That definitely seems placed perfectly in either the Empire era or even with the new album, just Queensryche with Todd La Torre. It definitely has a similar feel to it. Now, the funny thing about this is that I just reviewed recently Asking Alexandria, and the song Holding On is actually a song that I feel is built and ready for radio, and it actually has many of the elements in it that you would think I would kind of dislike based around what I had said about Asking Alexandria and bands of that variety. These are lyrics that are kind of speaking a little bit from the heart. They're not necessarily the most complex lyrics on earth. They're not necessarily lyrics that you require a Webster's dictionary at your right hand just to really understand. And the music itself seems like it would be kind of destined to be in similar vein to what has been kind of popular over the past 5 to 7 years. What really is the difference between Asking Alexandria and this song right here, Holding On by James LaBrie, is the execution. The executions are far and away dissimilar. With Asking Alexandria and the works of that variety, everything feels very, very rushed. There seems to be, an absolute absolute desire to try to maintain hardcore street cred by, you know, playing very, very hard and then adding the melodic elements. This is one where James basically just keeps the melodic element throughout. He doesn't fuck around with stuff like that, and instead it comes off with a more of a grain of truth to it, more of a grain of reality to it. There's definitely something about this track that feels a lot more real than the stuff that you hear with some of these other bands. And perhaps that's the reason why you'll hear the other bands on the radio. However, you will not hear Holding On by James LaBrie on the radio anytime soon, unless you have a really cool radio station near you, in which case I'm jealous. Now, this is a 12-track album that clocks in at a little under 50 minutes. This is perfect timing right here because it's not long enough where you're going to feel as though it's going to overstay its welcome, but it's not so short that you're going to leave hungry for more. It has that perfect balance right there where it kind of makes its grand entrance, it really wows you for a while, and then it bows out gracefully, and that's a nice consistency. It's something that really it makes this album a little bit more of a joy to listen to. Now, the one thing I will say about the melodic metal style or the melodic death metal style is that sometimes it can get a little bit rough and rugged throughout the way because it seems like it's bogged down with a little bit of lacking of creativity, either that or lacking of diversity. Now, the nice part here is that there is somebody who employs the harsher vocals, so it's not something that needs to be done throughout the entire experience. This is something that's kind of just thrust within every so often to really add a little bit of zest. There's a nice diversity between softer moments and, you know, the ones in which they're really trying to rock heavy and rock hard and really showcase their metal side. And it's something where in a genre such as this, you need to really have that, you know, diverse playbook in order to really make an album feel complete. And James, once again, has been able to do that. This is a great listen. It's one that I do recommend to a lot of people, not just fans of Dream Theater. And that's the thing. That's the big fucking thing right here, ladies and gentlemen. I do not recommend this James LaBrie album to just fans of Dream Theater. Absolutely not. I recommend this to all metal fans, to hard rock fans. This is something that is going to have a little bit of something for any fan of heavy or hard music here, because it does have that diversity that is able to really bring people back. I really like that consistency. I really like that diversity. There's a lot of ursities or ecstasies that I really like about this album, and that's the reason why I'm giving it the solid score of an 8.25 out of 10. I think that these little side projects, side ventures, have all gone pretty well for Dream Theater. They've really been able to employ their craft, but I think that in a lot of them just feel like Dream Theater Part 2 or Dream Theater with other musicians, you know, Dream Theater doing prog rock with other musicians, blah, blah, blah. This is one that really feels individual. It feels like it is its own solid entity, and I think that's one reason why a lot of people may enjoy this side project, this side venture, a lot more than others, principally because you're not going to feel like you're listening to the same band, only with other members. And that might be the welcome change that ushers in a lot more people to listen to this album by James LaBrie. I highly recommend it. I hope that you listen to it. Have you listened to it? What do you think of it? Comments, subscribe, and all that fun nonsense, blah, blah, blah. I want to know what I want to know how you feel about this record. That's what really excites me. That's what really I want to see. So hit me up in the comments and let me know what you think, and I will talk to you guys with the next album. On and on we go. Peace.